and my presentation is to talk to you a little bit about rollbacks and the sort of changes that we've done around those. Considering our time constraints, I'm going to live even more dangerously. I'm not going to use slides. I'm just going to do a live demo all the way. So please pray with me that this is going to work. So first of all, let me give you a very short story and tell me if this resonates with you. You love Data Hub, you just booted it up, you set it up, you deployed it, and you ingested some metadata. You showed this to your team members, to your company, and people started making some modifications. And then sometime later, you realized that the metadata that you ingested originally had some issue, right? So instead of deleting things one by one, you instead say, hey, let me just do a rollback of the ingestion that I did on Hive or Kafka or Glue, whatever source you try to use. And then suddenly you lost information because someone made a change in the UI and that's no longer there. As soon as you roll that back, you lost that information. And there are a couple of reasons for this. We can talk about them later on, but my presentation to you is to show you that that no longer happens and what that would look like. So first of all, let me log into a completely empty Data Hub installation, right? This has absolutely nothing. From here, we can see that, okay, I just have a person here, which is myself, the Data Hub user that logged in. From that, I'm simply going to, oh, sorry about this. Let me actually go down so you can see. From there, what I'm going to do is simply ingest some metadata. You could consider a scenario where you're ingesting from Hive or from some other source. In my case, I'm just ingesting from a file. And once that is done, I reload my page and I have a whole bunch of data sets, right? From here, I'm going to simulate a user making some modification. So let's say that I look at this documentation, it looks okay, but there's actually a bug here. This data set is not updated daily, it's actually updated weekly, for instance, right? So I just made a modification to this data set. From here, let's assume that there are a whole bunch of data sets here that I don't want. So I just want to roll this back. So what I'm going to do is simply ask Data Hub, hey, what ingestion runs did you perform? And in this case, it was this one done by a file. From here, then what I will do is just say ingestion, rollback, and then minus run ID. And I just give it my run ID. And it will tell me, hey, you will permanently delete information if you do this. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I do this. And if we give it a minute, you'll see that a whole bunch of sources got deleted. And if I reload my Data Hub page, I no longer have metadata, which makes sense. However, if I re-ingest the original data, assuming that I fixed something on the upstream source and I re-ingest it, hopefully, demo God's willing, I will have my the metadata that I originally changed, it will come back again. So I reload my page, I go again to the exact data set, and here we go. The data set, the modification that I made is no longer daily, it's actually weekly, which is correct. So this was a pain point for some people in the community. Essentially, what this is doing is implementing soft rollbacks for Data Hub. And alongside this sort of support, there are also several other things that we can do, but from the time limits, we can talk about those later.